it is a very foggy, kind of dreary sort of day, but it's warm. For the end of December, it's very warm. And I wanted to do a video about about what the year was like as far as doing these tractor stories. And I'll talk to you guys about how things were for the farm this year. We're not upset with 2024 going away. But yeah, my mood is very similar to the weather here. We lost our dog this morning. She died, and looks like the transmission in my daily driver pickup is acting up. So if that isn't a country song, I don't know what is. So one thing I am going to do while it's warm is my 4440 got put away. It was pretty muddy and wet when I did that. I'm going to run it through the snow and clean the tires off. And I'd like to fire up the combine. And it never got fully cleaned like it should have. Ran out of time, but I would like to run it. And if there's any rodents or anything, hopefully get rid of them. I'm going to show you what I'm working on, though. My old 856, I did get the loader mounted on it that I had talked about in a previous video. This is Clifford, my 4440, and it is the nicest 4440 I've ever seen. It's been a local tractor since new. One owner had it for, oh gosh, 40 years, almost 40 years. It is a late 81 model, above 50,000 serial number. And like I said, everything is just damp and foggy this morning. So otherwise it'd look way better. It's just kind of full of dew and fog here. But I am going to drive this around a little bit. I'll show you the 856 with the loader I'm working on. Here's a little tractor tour, I guess. 8225R. Obviously, this is Larry's 1456. I'd like to get this in the shop here pretty quick. That's my 8200. That is my go-to tractor. Like, there's just any job, you can kind of use the 8200. But Grumpy the 720. And I have been I started working on Larry's 1066, getting the pump and injectors off. And kind of found something surprising working on it. So obviously this isn't my shop, but this is a shed where it's in out of the weather, and it has it's a good spot, at least with a concrete floor. But thought I had a light out here. I don't, but pulling the pump and injectors, and I got the pump in time right now. Started taking things apart, but the pump, when I went to pull it, I went to line up the timing marks. Now, if you know these tractors, you go over to the flywheel here, and there's an indicator of the when it's at top dead center, and there's timing marks so you can tell where you're at. Well, if you look at that flywheel, there's none. So once I got the pin lined up, I put that paint mark in there, but no timing marks on the flywheel, and obviously that flywheel's been replaced. So I don't know. My pulling tractor days, what I would do on a pulling tractor is I would make an indicator on the dampener up there and find top dead center, pull the valve cover off, find top dead center for sure right on the nuts, make an indicator, and there is no markings on the front pulley. So what I would do is I would make an indicator pointer, and then I would mark top dead center on the vibration dampener. And then what I would do to find the degrees is you find out the circumference of the vibration dampener, and then you divide that by 360, and then you multiply that number times the number of degrees you want to be, and that'll fractionally tell you how many inches, well, in this case, it probably wouldn't be an inch even, you want to advance, or how far if you would wanted to mark where you wanted to put the timing at on a diesel engine. So, yeah, we've been working on Larry's 10. Right, so I'm going to take Clifford here for a little spin. We lost a lot of the snow in the last 45 minutes here even. But I am going to drive it. There's a little snow around. Hope I can get the tires clean. And I'm going to pull it in the shop and wipe it down. But should we see what she'll do here? It's been parked for, oh gosh, well over a month. There we go. And it's like 41 degrees. Seats coming up. So Clifford here is named after his longtime owner, Cliff. And it's a, like I said, late serial number, 1981. It had the wide front axle factory with factory heavy duty offset cast and 20.8 factory. It's got 5,205 hours on it, but if I said it had 2,000 on it, you'd believe it. Like I said, it's all misty and stuff from this fog and sitting in the shed. I'll see if I can get it in the shop, dry it off. So it normally lives in the shop, but I've had a bunch of projects to do that I needed the shop, so it hasn't been. And yeah, after the day we're having here, I could use a little tractor therapy here. 4440 is my all-time favorite tractor. I like red and green both, but 4440 is my favorite. I'm not saying they're the greatest tractor of all time, but I bet you'll have a hell of a hard time finding a better tractor as far as reliability and what they can do. So, but I need to get him in and even some sparrows crapped on him and stuff. So I am going to pull him in and in the shop and clean him up a little bit, and hopefully I'll show you guys that. I got to unhook my gooseneck if I'm going to drive my 07 pickup, so that 07 doesn't get driven in winter, and it's going to have to be for a few days, I guess, until we get my transmission fixed. So here's Clifford in and wiped down and dried off. This is original paint. It's never been machine buff that we know of. It was hand waxed one time. But was owned by one guy from basically late 1983 until his son sold it to me in 2022, I guess it would be. So here it is. It's got over 5,000 hours on it, but it was the guy that owned it just was so fussy. Used to wipe it down every night. He didn't wax it. He wasn't like that, but he would wipe it down so the dust didn't sit on it. And that's what I've been trying to do. I'll spray it with some Wizards spray, like when you wipe it down. But yeah, as you can see, like, it's nice. That's the original ether can. And I got looking and I'm like, oh yeah, well, it's unhooked. Well, Cliff must have unhooked it when it was almost new. He bought the tractor with like 200 or 300 hours on it. We think we know who the original owner is, but if you look at those, they're not like it just came off. It's been off for a long time, but really nice 4440. Obviously, it's 20.8 power shift. You know, if you look, see, there's still the foam behind the screens. Like, yeah, it's never sat out really. So, but like I said, It's got heavy duty offset cast, and so the wheels were repainted. When it got new tires, Cliff's son put new rims on it because it used to have band duals, and the reason it had band duals was because it used to plow, moldboard plow. So the band duals had scuffed the rims all up. So he put new tires on it. He put new rims on it. When he did that, he painted the wheels. I wish he wouldn't have, but still, I mean, it's beautiful. The front rims were also repainted when he put those tires on there to match the backs. It had 11 L's on the front. It's got 14 L's on it now. But if you look up underneath the fenders and stuff, look at the paint, the AC lines. This is a little dirty back here because I didn't do a great job of pressure washing when I was trying to put equipment away for the year. And I did stock chop a bunch with this tractor. So when I first bought it, I didn't do much at all with it. I still haven't put that many hours on it. I don't think I put 100 hours on it in 3 years. But with the cattle around, it's going to do some haying. Like, it could see 40 plus hours a year on it, but try and keep the hours down. Like I said, I don't want to have to do a lot of work to it. I just as soon keep it, just really nice. And I'm not saying there isn't a nicer 4440 somewhere, but it's the nicest one I've ever seen. And I've seen John Kinzenboss. It doesn't have any hours on it. But that tractor had to have the hood repainted, and it's not perfect. It just sat like in a shed. It didn't get used, but it, for a long time there, nobody, cleaned it or that. So it's nice. I still think this is nicer. And like I said, I'm not saying there isn't a nicer one out there somewhere, but this is the nicest 4440 I've ever seen. You look, yeah. So the toolbox actually got moved out when they switched it over to 134A. Once again, the AC works great, but probably would be nicer if it had the Delco on there. But it's a show tractor to me, but I'm not trying to go win awards with it. It's a show tractor that I farm with a little bit. Obviously the bigger tractors get used, but this one still does get some use. It's stock chopped a bunch, and it's gonna actually, it will do some haying, and then it's gonna plant a bunch of oats on the grain drill this spring. So this is Clifford, but let's go talk about this. I'd like to thank everybody for the videos and for all your support, and I'd like to talk about 2024. So yeah, once again, I'll just walk around it again because I like my tractor. So if you didn't see this side, just like that, the other one, it's clean. I added that sticker. So all the John Deere's that I've owned, cab tractors, have all had a sticker back there like that. All of them, from all the sound guards I've had, 4240 through 4440, 4450s, 4455s, on to the newer ones, 8225R, 8200 also have a John Deere sticker in the back there. So, yeah. So they narrowed it up when he bought a chisel plow. So before that, this tractor was set pretty wide for moldboard plowing, but they narrowed it up when he got rid of the moldboard plow and bought a chisel plow, a soil saver, 9-shank Glencoe soil saver. So if you look, there's still paint on the muffler, original paint. It's never had a rain cap. Cliff said he didn't want a rain cap on there because he didn't want to sit and, he didn't want to have to listen to that rattling around, and it was never going to sit out in the rain. So, but yeah, I need to wipe it down a little more. But yeah, you can look at the finish on everything. It's clean. I should clean it some more, but I mean, for now. So yeah, I really like 4440s. I love all sound guards, but 4440 when I was a kid, just if somebody had a 4440, you're like, that is a tractor, you know. It's just cool. And yeah, that's probably why. You just in the 80s and early 90s, man, if you had a 4440, that was something else. And people didn't buy new tractors for a while there. So this was a tractor. This was, you know, you were a farmer. Top notch, this tractor. So you'll have to excuse the space heater going in the background, but it's Christmas. I'm out here working on putting the loader on my 856 here. Years ago, it had a loader on it, and I wanted to get a loader back on it. It had a DuAl 310 loader on it, which was a non-quick attach. I ended up finding a DuAl 3100 loader for it, and which is a quick attach, and it came off a 756 International, and I thought, well, that'll bolt right up, but the holes were right except for this one was off by, I don't know, an inch. So I had to do a little fabricating on either side. Other than that, though, it seemed to work. Now I got to plumb in the valve. My plan is to make this valve bolt on to angle iron coming off the loader bracket, because I really don't want to attach this to the tractor, but you need to be able to run the hydraulics when the loader isn't on, so that's why I'll make it so you can bolt it on and off. But this was the original valve that was on the DuAl loader, the 310, so I kept it all these years, but one of the handles got broken, so I had to fabricate one. That DuAl out there never had a valve. The tractor came off of, had dual remotes. This is an 856 custom. If you're not familiar with what a custom is, one headlight in each fender. You don't have little things like the light up there for the shifting. Single remote, no hydraulic seat, fast hitch instead of 3-point. 6-bolt hubs. 806 air cleaner, so single element, and then, you know, fast hitch instead of 3-point, and then it doesn't have like remotes. It's just got hoses with Pioneer couplers. So I've had this tractor for a long time. First tractor I bought on my own to just farm with on my own. So, yeah, so 856 custom. I had the hood off because there was leaking some hydraulic oil underneath the hood. Looks like the hydraulic cooler lines. So I tightened them up. I'm gonna run it, just see. But should be ready to kind of put tools away, get ready to mount that loader. I don't know if we'll do it today or not, but probably not. But at least get this fired up, and I need to unload some feed for the cattle, being it's warmer out. So as you can see, I don't have a giant shop, but when I bought this farm, you know, that was a long time ago, when I was 26, this was a nice shop. It was a lot better than what I had. So it does need to get remodeled if we need to add on, but for now, as you can see, 856 DCU custom. So we get her going. We will maybe get her hooked to the feed mill. So I got the 8 about ready. Just gotta do a couple little things, but if I'm gonna get this feed mill out, as you can see, birds or critters have been going up in that auger and eating the feed that's left in here. I didn't want to leave feed in there, but I had more in the feed mill than I thought. But it's like 30 degrees out. If the 359 will start, I guess I'll unload this feed, because the 8's ready. And tomorrow I got a lot of stuff going on, and then they're supposed to rain a bunch Friday, and you know, we got a bunch of tiling to do. So this is a good day to do it. My daughter's home to help, And we're not, it's kind of a quiet Christmas here, so let's see what the old 359 will do. Yeah. All right. That's a good sign. Yeah. If you're wondering, it's a Cat B model 3406B, 425 horse air to air. 1985 build on the engine, 1986 truck. So Merry Christmas from far western Wisconsin. Oh, did you see I got the loader mounts on here? I got the valve plumbed up there, so we gotta drive up to the loader and attach the hoses. I'm gonna leave the valve with the loader though, that's why it's loose there. This is my 856, and I had showed a video of this loader. I just bought this loader, and it was sitting on my gooseneck, and I was showing my 856 and mounting it. But I've had this tractor for years, decades. First tractor that I bought on my own to farm on my own. Wasn't the first tractor I bought, but it was the first tractor I bought on my own to farm on my own. And this isn't a regular 856. It's a custom. So if you're not familiar with what a custom is, basically it was a cheap 856. This tractor was the competition of a John Deere 4000. And 856 custom came with a few different specific parts. There was, for one thing, originally it had an 806 muffler. Now it has an 856 muffler, but it was an 806 muffler. You know, not the oval, the round. One headlight in each fender. It has a fast hitch instead of a 3-point. It only has one remote, and it's not even a remote. It's just hoses, just couplers, Pioneer couplers. And that was an issue here with the loader, which I'll talk about. But like no light to indicate for shifting, and the battery boxes were stripped down. They were diesel only. You couldn't get a 856 custom in gas or LP, but 6-bolt front hubs only. Just some small little things like that. But this loader was for it. It came off a 756. Now that obviously has a German diesel. The one thing, I thought the bell housing would be the same, but the one bolt did not line up. So I had to do some welding and some, making things work there, some fabrication. But in order to run it, I saved the old loader valve off the loader that was on here. It had a DuAl loader on it years ago. It was a 310 when I bought it. And I saved that valve. So when I went to hook it up, though, we didn't get any of the hoses right. Like, they weren't marked as far as what one would be the pressure side, what would be return, which there is hydraulics either direction. But there were zip ties on 2 hoses, and I didn't know if they meant that those were the pressure side or if those were, specifically this is the boom, this is the bucket. So had to swap them around, and then the functions on the loader weren't quite right. So I had to switch them around at least another time. So yeah, it was roulette with hydraulic hoses to get it to work the way I want it to. We got it to work, but it'd drive you crazy because some of the stuff was not right. It was backwards. But what I'm doing with this angle iron here to mount that valve to, so it was on a piece of angle iron. I'm actually going to put a hole in here to put a bolt, put a hole in this angle iron, which I could bolt and unbolt this valve. I don't want to mount that valve to the tractor. I'm going to mount it to the loader here. And I want it fairly long to take it up over the top of that fender so that I can leave the valve with the loader and I can just drive up and run it without having to run it from the ground or have somebody else. So I should be able to, as you're pulling up, it should be here, which you would be able to get there. And I'm going to mount that up here. I'll show you guys when I get that done. And we'll take Clifford the 44 for a little drive. But right now I'm going to do this. And then we'll talk about 2024. But here's some farming for you guys and some tractor stuff for you. If you've never heard of an 856 like this, they're pretty cool. So here is the 8 with the loader mounted. I got it greased. It needs a couple of grease fittings, a couple of little leaks on it, but I am going to use it for its first operation. We're going to stack some manure. But that's what I did. It's heavy duty angle iron. I don't know, go ahead and judge my welds and give me a hard time. Just stick welded 6011s. There's a little better look at how I cut that out and welded that. My idea there is I should be able to drive up to it, and that should just go with the loader when it tips, as long as I've got enough hose to go back here. That's the only thing I might have to do different. I don't know if I'll have enough hose there, but we'll see. Probably won't take it off a lot. Like I said, I had said I made a promise to this tractor when I took the 310. It had the DuAl 310 loader. I said, you're done being a loader tractor, and here we are with it back on there. But I feel kind of good about it that it's a DuAl. That's what I wanted. That's what was on there. But I wanted a quick attach, so we can take the loader. But I think it looks all right. Oh, and when this valve was sitting, somehow that handle got broke off, so I made a handle. Seems to be functional. So should we see if it'll move some manure? So, works like it's supposed to. So what we do is I take manure out of the barn. We just wheelbarrow it out of the barn for the heifers and stack it here. Well, if you don't push the pile up, pretty soon the pile just gets spread way too far out. And I don't want to haul manure until spring, because once I start using my spreader, I like to use it and I want to clean it back up. So, but that worked awesome. I'm all right with that. The cattle are enjoying warmer weather. You know, it's muddy now, but it's nice to be outside, huh, girls? It's pretty neat to see cattle here. For those of you that don't know, just got cattle back again for the first time since 2009. And I quit milking in 2008. I got rid of the last heifers in 2009. So we've been fixing up the barn and getting beef cattle again, and start a small herd. My family seems to really like it, and I've been enjoying it. There's been a lot of videos about, well, not a lot of videos, but I've been showing some of the old equipment I've had to buy for livestock again. I will say that on a dreary sort of kind of weathered day, seeing the cattle, you know, coming in the barn and lights on in here makes me happy. I just figured I'd show you guys the cattle again because this makes me happy. I don't know why the one there, she's like, nope, I'm just going to stay out in the rain, but yeah. So 2024 was not perfect on the farm this year. We had some trouble with the weather. We went through one of the wettest stretches we've ever had in May and June, which really caused a lot of problems as far as fertility, and then it led to tar spot disease problems after. But so it was pretty challenging, and then of course crop prices dropping was it was rough as far as that was concerned. But we did some okay jobs with marketing a little bit of grain. So it could have been worse. But the highlight of the farm for 2024, I would say, never mind a candy thief here, would be the cattle. Getting the cattle back again and finding some satisfaction and enjoyment out of that, and fixing up the barn and spending time with my daughter. When we took our pigs to the fair, that was really enjoyable, and then getting the cattle has been really enjoyable for that. Doing this stuff has been a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing these videos, and that's actually led to the Heritage Iron Magazine articles, which we're doing. If you don't read Heritage Iron Magazine, pick it up. There's some tractor stories out there we can do that maybe the guy won't talk, but there's a few that'll get written. So this has been a lot of fun. I just wanted to thank everybody personally for their support and help with doing these videos. So I'm going to read them right off the list. Mike Reel, Jerry Pieper, Breck Sweeney, John Huber, Torque Whistler, Tom Milliron, John Kraus, Logan and Derek Dusick, Don Slama, Don Schroeder, Jeff Seifler, Tony Reed, Rob Plendel, Scott Mansky, Nick McCormick, the Moriartys, Jerry Nikolai, Sig Weiss, Brent Lindstrom, Terry and Chris Weisenbeck, Roman Hoopert, Steve Roll, John Kinzenbaugh, Roger Whiff, my dad, Nate Johnson, Mick Hoosby, Jim Weiss, Ron Olson, Pat Green, Jeff Davidson, Kurt Afdahl, or not Kurt, sorry, Brad Afdahl, Pete Christensen, Hilton Fiedler, Charlie Sachs Jr. and Sr., Larry Summerfield, Tom Oderkirk, Paul Tonsager, Jim Trainer, Kevin Niebuhr, Charles Garby, Kurt Nelson, and Dean and Dale Hines. These videos have been a lot of fun. And people email me about wanting to come out and do the tractor stories with them, and I hope we can get some more support to do this. It's tough to travel a long ways because there's a lot of expense and a lot of time in doing that. So there isn't quite enough money for all of this, but now that it's winter time, we should be able to travel and do more stories. But hopefully that it keeps growing, and we can do a lot more of these. I really enjoy it, and I think it's important. I think it's history that we need to get down and saved. So I'll try and get you guys a tractor story next week. This week with the holidays, I just figured I want to do a year-end thank you to everybody. So we will see what we can do. We need a good Ford guy story. We don't have any real good Ford stories that we've done yet. We've covered quite a few colors out there, but I don't think we've done anything for Ford. So Thanks again for all your support. I hope you guys enjoy this. Try and get some, you know, tell people about it. Let's grow this thing, because I would like to do this a lot more if we can. So, but thanks again. I appreciate it.